I'm ready. Alright, we back. Right? You good? You good? Right? Alright, back. We back. This part of the segment, we dive in a little bit of current events. Firstly, real quick, I want to jump in. Damn, I'm sorry. What did I had it in my top of my tongue. No, I ain't want to go to that, but I do that. It was what I had before that. I just wrote it. I just had it.
Climate change, you said?
No, it was something else I just thought about. Okay. Anyway, alright. Okay, yeah, alright. This is a part of the segue where we jump in, current events. So recently, I think the Trump administration is thinking about revisiting the Emmett Till case. Is an FYI. My question is, what's the point? I guess, right? Is it, it's so many years late, do y'all feel like it is a purpose, is a point for him to revisit that?
I thought the lady already confessed.
Yeah, she did.
So what else did they talk about?
That's why I just posed that question. I don't know. Right? You know what I'm saying?
They want to lock her up? Do they want to?
Maybe, maybe.
Charge her right now? That would be great.
I read a lot of comments, on social media. They were saying this more, Black Twitter. They say it's a way for the government to reprogram our minds. Something crazy about, to get us back in fear. I don't know, to remind us of what happened. I don't know. But I just threw that out there, maybe y'all had an idea.
Angle they take with the, like, they're just trying to just revisit the horror of it.
Yeah.
I don't see the purpose of that.
Yeah, me neither. Nextly,
I guess I have a comment on that. I guess my comment on it is, I guess there's some significance when you bring it to current day. We're having Emmett Tills every day when we look at the news, and these cops are getting off. So I would say, like KB said, if you're gonna do something behind it, if there's gonna be some type of litigation, or if it serves a purpose in terms of justice, you never stop fighting for justice. The fight for justice is eternal.
Right.
You know what I mean? So if there's gonna be like some type of outcome that he can really, really rest in peace, and so be it. But I feel like we got Emmett Tills every day, and those cops and people are getting off. They're not being tried. So.
Right. All right. Nextly. Good.
That would come to mind with the sister's comment, martial law, and that's another reality that I think that we may be forced to go through. We experienced a small form of martial law with the Freddie Gray murder, right?
The curfew.
Right. That man dying from complications after being arrested in Baltimore, Maryland, and the city took to the streets based of the injustice, and because the people took to the street, the TV reporters announced that was more of a riot as opposed to a sound protest, as if we can't protest. Right. So the people took to the streets, and granted, some of the people did, or as we saw, destroy some property, and with that, a curfew was placed on Baltimore City. And I, for one, worked at Baltimore City during that time, and everyone had to be in by 7 o'clock. There was no one on the street. No one on the street. So just imagine again, during disaster preparedness, a riot breaks out that you don't have anything to do with, but the government implements martial law. You know what I'm saying? You lose your rights when that happens. And you want to be able to, again, prepare yourself and your family by being able to shelter home, have enough to survive to stay in your home. Do you want to rely on government if you have to go to a truck and they feed you maybe 30 pounds worth of food in a box, and there's 4 or 5 of you all in a house? So that's something to be mindful of when it comes to disaster preparedness.
Right. And then, interesting you brought that up, because they did, martial law is really signed in. It can pop off anytime. I know that's the atmosphere they're trying to create to do that. I know you just touched on it, but Can you explain that a little bit more? What the community need to do in the event they say, all right, martial law in effect, bunker down. You know, what mitigation, I guess, right, is the term. What mitigation should we take as community?
Wow, in our training program, we do talk on martial law, and we talk about what is it that the government used to implement it. We talk about, again, how to deal with it in the event if you're caught outside during the time frame. We'll talk about one of the things that the government used to control people doing so-called riot is pepper spray, tear gas. We go over how to prepare yourself to deal with that. We go over how to relieve yourself of those stresses. So again, there's a lot more to it than I think just sitting here discussing it in a deep fashion. But again, our company, we go into our training program. So.
Okay. Sorry, I had to social media that. That's good information. All right, so yes, ma'am.
Well, when speaking of that, that really brings to mind this whole situation with immigration, because that's some level of, I guess it's not martial law. It's more like concentration camp. But I mean, what do we think about this whole thing with immigration and these children being taken by the government from their families and their parents? And in some cases, they can't even find the parents. Like the Trump administration just said, some of the children just not going back. So here we are in 2018, like the idea of that. How, as a community, like I would like to, ask around.
Ma, how about your thoughts?
How are we feeling about that? Because you really don't see us or hear us on this issue.
I guess for me, like I've been silent on a lot of the topics that's been going around. One, because you try to like keep a clear mindset about what's going on, because you know it could hit home, and you don't want to say anything or have some type of opinion about what's going on in somebody else's life. Mm-hmm. It might cause like an uproar in somebody else's mind or in their family life, because you don't know that it could happen here. You know what I'm saying? It could happen wherever. So I try to, step back and put my 2 cents on what's happening with other people's families. Talk about loss and separation, because it's a negative thing. It's a negative vibe. It's a negative energy that's surrounding the whole thing. As soon as it goes out on TV or social media, everybody else has their say in it, and it creates the stigma for what it is.
Right.
Instead of, how do you really like genuinely feel about it? Well, it's messed up, because I just had a child, and I would feel some awful type of way if, my family was kind of like dispersed and disconnected in a fashion that was unorganized, and you don't know where they are, and you never know if you're going to see them again.
Right.
I would definitely be distraught and really taken back by it.
So I got a question, because I don't want to know if do y'all offer this, because I know back in the civil rights era, my grandmother was showing me, they used to, as a community, they used to meet up maybe Wednesday or Sunday night. They used to meet up as a community, and they used to practice how to react when KKK come around and this, that, and the third. Yeah. And I know that's what we're missing now. We don't do that. We don't meet up and have think tanks that prepare for this type of stuff. What are your thoughts on that? Do y'all offer that as part of your courses?
One of the things we do in our training program is that we initiate the process of telling the community to make sure they have leaders in the community that stands out. When you become prepared to know how to deal with the disasters, then guess what? That responsibility falls on. Because you have the knowledge now, then I would think that I should step up. I would think that if my neighbors are out on the sidewalk or on the street, and we're all looking around what to do, but guess what? I took the Aftermath preparedness training class, and this is what we're supposed to do, or this is what we should do. You know what I'm saying? It's too often we wait to the last minute. Again, Aftermath is about being proactive instead of reactive, right? So let's go ahead and get training. It's one thing to say, well, you know what? all the information is on the internet. But guess what? Yeah, the pros and cons are on the internet. But a lot of us don't like to, or we don't have time to go to that internet. And at the same time, we affect more of a bigger crowd of people when we do it as a community. You know, and hold each other responsible. And that's one thing I like to see when we all come together and can rely on each other for survival.
And then I'm gonna segue that real quick. This is an update as far as coming to governors. You know, it was just on. I just seen it on Breakfast Club. Umar Johnson brought it up, but China, man, own all of Caribbean and Africa and that. So I just brought that up to segue. The unity is missing, and even in different continents. I just want to tell let everybody know, man. We got to do something ASAP. 2018. We got to do it before this year out because I think it's gonna get even more crazy and more darker. But I just want to throw that out there that China taking over the whole Caribbean now. You know what I'm saying? And that's a community that stick together, but you see what they do when they stick together. And then they about to be the new world power. And I feel like we as a community can be that. You know what I'm saying? We spend so much money, trillions of dollars on shoes and etc. We could be buying up hospitals and banks, etc. So,
well, one thing I want to say about that is, I don't know if some of you have heard the saying that each one teach one. And I think we need to get back to that, especially when it comes to our businesses. Help the next man come up. And it's not should be, well, I got mine, you get yours. Right? That's one reason why I think we fall behind as a people. When you look at what others are doing, whether it's Chinatown, whether it's those in so-called Italy communities, they gather together and they pool their resources. And it's not always about, well, if I give you 10, you gotta give me 30 back. How can we get further ahead if we're always trying to take more? We got the haves and the have-not, but we're too busy trying to take in order to put profit in our pocket, but not looking at the big picture when it comes back again, having a community and being a family.
Right.
As you just said, foreign countries are coming here and buying up land. We could be doing the same